Hello, happy Monday. It's time for What to Watch Special Edition movie review. Movie review Monday, but I don't do these every Monday. I need to be more on a schedule. And I've been meaning to do this movie review for the last few weeks, but I've just been in a funk and little sad news I've gotten in the last few weeks. So I gave myself the week off, like I didn't post anything. So now I'm doing this review of the movie Aftermath, which is still streaming on Netflix. And disclaimer, I did like the movie. There's a lot of reviews of the movie that said it was horrible. I loved this movie. But I'm one of those people, I like movies that aren't so scary, but scary enough. Like I wouldn't watch this at night, but it was really good. I liked it. So it's kind of based off of a true story. Very little. There's just one part of the movie that's based off a true story. So we're just gonna get right into it. The movie stars Ashley Greene. She plays Natalie. Sean Ashmore. I always want to call him Ashbury. I don't know why. Sean Ashmore, he plays Kevin, her husband. And Sharif Atkins plays Detective or Officer Richardson. Those are the three main characters. And the only three people you really need to care about. So anyways, Kevin and Natalie are a couple. It starts out, when the movie first starts, there's already someone that's getting murdered or running from someone. So that's all the opening credits. And then it goes to Kevin, and he like works as like a deep cleaner. It looks like he mainly cleans murders, but I don't know. I think that's just one of the things. So him and his two coworkers are cleaning this house where there was just a suicide murder. So I'm pretty sure that's what the opening credits was about. Because at the beginning, I thought it was like, oh, this is the end of the movie. Like, you know, some movies start with the end and then you go backwards, but no. So the murder in the movie at the beginning was actually the murder of the house originally. So is that confusing? I don't think so. Watch the movie if you're confused. Anyway, so Kevin's cleaning this house and it's a beautiful home, like high-tech everything. And he really is enchanted by the house. Then it flashes to Natalie, she's like a designer or seamstress. She does stuff with clothes. Like, I'm pretty sure she's a designer. I really didn't explain it, or I missed it, I think. But yeah, she does something with clothes. She gets a job offer and she's wanting like a really good job for a long time. So she's all happy. Her and Kevin are celebrating. They start like making out and everything, and then he gets weird, and come to find out she cheated on him. So they're working through it. They're going through therapy. You later find out that before her affair, he found his brother who committed suicide. So he got really distant. He quit school. I guess she felt neglected. So there's all these things that happen. So they're working on their marriage. So he wants to start fresh. So he decides to buy that house where there was a suicide murder. And they got it for really cheap because a lot of people don't want to buy that house. And the people who sold it to them was the sister of the husband who died at the house. And her husband sold the house to them. And of course, the husband of the woman who sold it is very weird. So that kind of tips you off something's going to happen with him. So anyways, they can move into the house. Of course, Natalie starts seeing stuff like all the time. And Kevin just doesn't really believe her. So she's like, okay, I guess I'm going crazy. She's making amends with him. He's punishing her for the affair. So she's going to do everything she can to appease him, because any woman or any person who is scared, or most people would not move into a house where people were just murdered like 2 months ago. So she's doing it to appease him because he really wants this. So that makes sense. That makes total sense to me. In between time, Kevin goes back to school and he starts flirting with one of his schoolmates who I think he kind of knew before, and they start doing projects together. So he's very flirty, I think, in a way to prove that I'm going through this movie in a very emotional element, like the couple thing. I think that was so important in this movie, and I just got it. So I think he's flirting with this schoolmate. What else do you call a schoolmate? I want to say coworker. I don't know, friend, whatever. So, and I think he's allowing himself to flirt with her because, you know, his wife cheated on him. So that's going on. Turns out Natalie's great new job that she got was the guy she had an affair with was the one that got her that job. So she has to still work with him, and she's like, oh, great. So she doesn't want to tell Kevin. So what's going on? Plus she's seeing stuff in the house. in between, no, later on. I keep on saying in between time. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of in between time that happens in this movie. But her sister Danny watches their dog for them when they're both working. And one night her sister goes and watches the dog, and some being like takes her. So you're like, oh great, what's happening? So obviously Natalie's seeing something. You just don't know if it's a person, an entity, whatever. So she doesn't hear from her sister for like 3 weeks. It's just like sometimes she just leaves, so they kind of don't think about it. And this one particular night, Natalie's home alone, and she sees literally a guy, and he like chases her all through the house. She like freaks out and falls into the pool. But the video cameras, because this whole house is high tech, like there's video cameras, it's, you know, digitally remastered, like everything you can see. Cameras are everywhere. When the cop looks at the camera, it looks like she's just running from herself. So she's like, I'm telling you the truth, there's someone there. And Kevin's like, I want to believe you, but I don't believe you. And then they're getting all these magazines of like weird magazine subscriptions that they didn't even order. So they're like, that's weird. And one night, he must be a weirdo guy, because he was answering an ad to go and assault Natalie, but someone had put the ad out for them. Then weird stuff's happening. They don't know why. So Natalie goes and talks to the woman that sold them the house, and she's like, I never really trusted my sister-in-law. Something was going on with her. My brother would not murder her, nor himself. Something was weird. She designed that house. She made it so unique. Like, I don't know. And when Natalie's leaving, her husband's like, you guys need to be careful. Maybe you should move back out of that house. And she's like, we're not moving out, but whatever. And then another situation happened with Natalie in the house. So then the Officer Richardson, finds out that the woman who sold them the house, her husband has been sending them that weird stuff, the subscriptions, the person to assault Natalie. So he was the one to blame. But she's like, I see someone in there. Like, there's someone in there. And he's like, I don't know what that's about, but whatever. So then their dog gets sick. And that's when it gets really creepy. The dog was poisoned, so they had to put him down. And there's someone, and they hear weird noises. She mostly does. It's mostly like, oh my God, she's crazy. But she's not. There's something going on. There's always something going on. Anyways, then Kevin, because they start just like bickering back and forth. Then he has like a heart attack almost, but he was getting poisoned. So then Officer Richardson's like, maybe your wife's poisoning you. It implies that. So he believes it. Like, he won't eat the food she makes. She's like, I'm not poisoning you, So anyways, a few days go by, and they get into a fight, and he gets a text from her like, don't come home. And he was like, fine, I won't come home. I'll hang out with my schoolmate and work on this project and drink tequila and just have a grand old time, which I don't really blame him doing that either. So that's what I'm saying. This relationship element thing, I really got it. Anyway, so it's not funny. It's actually a really sad story. But where was I? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So he gets this text from his wife, Natalie, and then she calls him. She's like, yeah, I really want to talk to you. Then he calls her. He's like, I never got you told me to stay away. She's like, no, I didn't. So there actually is a camera in their room, and she goes and looks at it. There's someone under her bed, and that guy like texted Kevin and then deleted it, and he like stares at Natalie. She's like, oh my God, someone's in this house. So of course, right when she sees that, he attacks her, and they're going back and forth. She passes out. She wakes up in like the basement, and obviously this guy's been living there. I mean, isn't that your worst nightmare? Someone's living in your house you don't even know, and they're crazy. So she sees all these pictures, and she notices that the old occupants who died, the wife, there was a picture of that guy and the wife. So the wife he killed the wife and her husband. She was having an affair with him, and this is where it gets a little confusing. It sounds like she just kept him in the basement, or to keep him as like her love slave. and then he got mad and decided to murder them. Either way, she had an affair with him. So he has this fascination with Natalie. He's all like long hair. At one point, it looked like he was good looking. There's a I don't know. That's where it gets kind of fuzzy for me. I even tried to rewatch it. I'm still confused, but that idea, you get the idea. Not the point. Creepy guy under the house. So she hears Kevin come home. And then remember her sister Natalie, or her sister Danny? He killed her and he put the body in their bed. So Kevin's trying to like flirt with the body thinking it's Natalie. He's like, oh, and it was his sister-in-law. So he knows something's going down. So then that guy comes up from the basement, tries to kill him. And then it's a back and forth thing. And then eventually they kill him. And then of course the officer is like, oh, I guess you were, you know, it's so-and-so. He kind of explains who the guy was. Not important. They're over it. They're ready to move out. And they got a new dog. Happy ending, right? But of course, big spoiler alert, as the credits are starting to roll, the basement door opens on its own. So either someone else is living there. I think there might be a sequel. I don't know. I loved the movie. I just told you the gist of it. It's under 12 minutes. So I think you should watch it. It's a good watch. I like Ashley Greene. I like Shawn Ashmore. So 2 thumbs up for me. Perfect kind of scary movie. Perfect date night movie. So watch it if you want, and if you watch this whole video all the way through. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day and the rest of your week.